Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nuraina Shaffia binti Rosdi and my matrix number is 2020971501. I'm going to be presenting my final year project proposal titled Customer Segmentation for E-commerce Retailer. The completion of this proposal was under the supervision of Madam Kamalia Kamarudin. The subtopics that will be covered in this presentation are introduction, literature review, research methodology, and Gantt chart. For many years, e-commerce has grown rapidly in developed countries and has successfully replaced traditional commerce for most people. To ensure effective marketing strategies and improve customer loyalty in e-commerce, customer segmentation is needed. To date, many companies have been applying customer segmentation to discover their potential customers for each product or service. Through customer segmentation, companies can reduce their cost of advertising when a specific group of customers are targeted for each promotion by mapping their behaviors and past engagement patterns with the company. According to Kundra in 2020, retailers are able to gain 3 to 5% more sales through customer segmentation. These are the problems that occur in the real world today that leads to this research. According to Rosdi in 2018, one of the most common marketing problems in companies are they are attracting the wrong customers. This happens when companies have no knowledge of who their loyal and potential customers are, their purchasing patterns and behaviors. So apart from wasting time, companies will also miss their opportunity to attract true potential customers. The second problem is, it is impossible to satisfy the needs of all consumers in the market in a single common approach. This is because every customer has a different background, they live in different areas and have different interests. For example, in Malaysia, we have many different cultures as well as religions, so ultimately, our needs and demands will be different from one another. The last problem is an increasing number of competitors causes customers to churn. In 2020, Malaysia was ranked as the 27th most competitive economy in the world. So, the number of consumers are also growing fast and companies are desperate to separate their products from competitors. So, in order to do so, a well-planned marketing strategy is needed to ensure survival and to sustain growth. The first research objective is to calculate the recency, frequency, and monetary values of each customer. The second objective, to design and develop a clustering model based on the RFM values using K-means clustering algorithm. And the final research objective is to design and develop an online dashboard to visualize the K-means clustering model's result based on the RFM values. For the research scope, there are two different datasets that will be used in the research. The first one is the Brazilian e-commerce public dataset by Olis that will be retrieved from Kaggle website. The second dataset are customers' data that will be scraped from the Amazon website. So the first dataset is used as a benchmark to observe the result of the prototype, whereas the second dataset is used to apply the created prototype. But this time I will be using the second dataset. The reason I use both datasets is because by scraping a new dataset, I will not have any reference in terms of the number of clusters to be defined. Thus, by studying the result of an existing dataset, I will have a bit more grasp on how to build the best model to obtain the most optimal result. Next, the technique that will be used to segment customers is K-means clustering algorithm, whereas the software that will be used to build the prototype is Anaconda 3, and the software that will be used to scrape customers' data from Amazon is Data Miner. To code the prototype, I will be using Python, whereas To build the online dashboard, I will be using JavaScript and HTML programming languages. Lastly, the target users of the prototype are e-commerce that use customer segmentation in their customer relationship management strategy. These are the significance of the research. Firstly, it helps companies to improve customer lifetime value by increasing customer retention. When companies know who their loyal customers are, companies could give more attention and focus more on them. Secondly, it enables companies to plan their marketing strategies more effectively and efficiently. For example, when promoting new products, companies can target specific individuals that they know are more likely to respond to the advertisement or promotion. Ultimately, the cost of advertisement can be reduced and marketing budgets can be utilized more efficiently. This leads to the third research significance, which is to improve companies' profitability and expand their revenue. According to Richfield in 1978, the increment of customer retention by 5% enables a company to increase their profits by 25 to 95%. Lastly, it helps companies to understand the ever-changing trends and demands of customers. This is because through this prototype, companies are able to group customers according to their purchasing patterns and behaviors. For domain knowledge, 3 terms related to the research were included. The first one is e-commerce. So, e-commerce or electronic commerce is defined as any commercial transaction type that utilizes the internet to transmit transaction information. The e-commerce market has developed quickly around the world, especially with the spread of COVID-19 virus recently. And the rapid growth of e-commerce has changed the traditional relationships between sellers and consumers, as well as customers' buying procedures. Next, customer segmentation is a practice of grouping consumers that have similar characteristics and purchasing patterns. This practice is important in the customer relationship management as it can help a company to understand their customer better, as well as to identify loyal and churned customers. Lastly, RFM analysis is used to distinguish customers' purchasing patterns according to 3 dimensions. The first dimension is the recency, which is the last time from every customer's last purchase. In other words, how recent has each customer last purchased from the company. The second dimension is frequency, which is the number of purchases each customer has made in an arbitrary period. The last dimension is the monetary value, or the total price each customer has paid in a particular period of time. The techniques that are related to the research are machine learning, K-means clustering algorithm, and some other machine learning techniques. Firstly, machine learning is a rapidly emerging data analytic tool that makes it possible for systems to perform self-learning and to improve from experience without having to explicitly program it. Machine learning systems compute the outputs by finding underlying patterns in the data to develop decision rules that requires minimal to no human assistance. Next, K-means clustering algorithm is an unsupervised algorithm in which all clusters are connected to a centroid. The number of clusters or K is defined before training occurs. The goal during the training process is to maximize the intra-cluster distance while minimizing the inter-cluster distance. Finally, some other machine learning techniques are hierarchical clustering, fuzzy clustering algorithm, and fuzzy C-means clustering algorithm. So, hierarchical clustering is a popular technique used for dimensionality reduction, in which the elements can be separated into different predetermined groups. The objective of hierarchical clustering is to visualize the hierarchy of a dataset using a dendrogram. In fuzzy clustering algorithm, the clusters on a dataset are observed on the fuzzy perceptual plot. In this technique, every point of data owns a membership value for every cluster. The goal of this algorithm is to calculate the membership values in which the within cluster distances are minimized and between cluster distances are maximized. Lastly, fuzzy C-means algorithm is a combination of K-means clustering algorithm and fuzzy algorithm. The algorithm was developed to simulate the experience of complicated decisions and uncertainty. There are 3 previous words that are related to the research included in the slide. There are 3 previous words that are related to the research included in the slide. Firstly, in a research done by Zhou et al. In 2021 titled Customer Segmentation by Web Content Mining, the researchers introduced a new element called inter-purchase time in their RFM analysis. The values obtained in the RFMT analysis are clustered using a hierarchical clustering. According to the researchers, this algorithm is chosen because no initial parameters are needed. In a similar research done by Chen et al. In 2020 titled Smartphone Customer Segmentation based on the usage pattern, they also make use of the hierarchical clustering to segment customers based on their usage pattern. Firstly, the equivalence class transformation algorithm is used to identify customers' frequent applications used. Then, customers are clustered based on the dissimilarity measured of usage pattern using hierarchical clustering. In a thesis written by Hiziroglu in 2009 titled A Soft Computing Approach to Customer Segmentation, he proposed a soft computing approach to develop a customer segmentation model using customers' RFM data. The clustering result is compared with the result of two-stage clustering models. The first traditional two-stage clustering is Watt's method followed by K-means. Meanwhile, the second two-stage is self-organizing map followed by K-means. The researcher uses Euro-fuzzy clustering approach to identify real clusters in the data. So this is the research framework, which consists of 7 main phases, which are knowledge acquisition, data collection, data preprocessing, prototype design, prototype development, result visualization, and documentation. Now, I will explain in detail the objectives to be met, the activities to be carried out, and the deliverables of every phase. For the first objective, the phases involved are knowledge acquisition, data collection, and data preprocessing. For knowledge acquisition, the activity to be carried out is to review literature from journals, articles, and websites. By doing so, the problem statement, research objectives, research significance, and literature review can be written. For data collection phase, the activities involved are retrieve Ollie's e-commerce dataset from Kaggle and script data from Amazon. The deliverables of this phase are 2 raw data sets. Finally, for data processing, the activities involved are perform data cleaning and to calculate the RFM values of each customer from the data set obtained. After performing data cleaning, we will obtain clean dataset of Ollie's customers as well as Amazon customers. And after calculating the RFM values of each customer, RFM values are obtained for each customer. To meet the second objective, 2 phases are involved, which are prototype design and prototype development. In prototype design phase, the activities involved are to determine the number of clusters K and to design the clustering model using K-means clustering algorithm. The deliverables of this phase are optimal number of clusters and the clustering model architecture. The second phase, prototype development, involves only one activity, which is to implement the clustering model using K-means clustering algorithm. The deliverable of this activity is the prototype of e-commerce customer segmentation model. For the third objective, 2 phases are involved, which are result visualization and documentation. For result visualization, 2 activities are involved, which are to design the online dashboard to visualize the clustering results and to develop the online dashboard to visualize the clustering result. The deliverables of this phase are design of online dashboard and the online dashboard. Finally, the second phase is documentation, in which the deliverable is the final year project report. This is the Gantt chart to represent the timeline of completing the proposal as well as the full report. So the activities involved are preliminary study, knowledge acquisition, Chapter 1 writing and submission, Chapter 2 writing and submission, Chapter 3 writing and submission, proposal report submission, prototype development, result visualization, documentation as well as full report submission.